Okay, Tuesday, 13th of January 2026. So, Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. The Sapir-Whorf hypothesis. Now, this is a beautiful little thing to consider and understand and be aware of in communication and people being international in the world, that your language affects how you think and how you behave. And that's fascinating. Because fundamentally, languages are constructions of and utilize constructions, natural constructions, through society, history, evolution, that uses different parts of the brain for for cognition, basically, of how we think. Articles are a good example. The A and the zero article in English compared to, say, the Slavic languages like Russian, that does not use articles whatsoever, and that affects how people communicate. It's that fractured and broken English that you can hear. The cat is, for example, I put on table, or the table here, the table is here, things like that. It's how you structure sentences. But also at a deeper level, it's how you behave, how you think. Because I've noticed subtly that when I speak in Spanish, I joke a lot more. And I've even noticed some things when speaking Bulgarian as well. But I notice I'm generally different when speaking Spanish than English. Oh, interesting. And I also generally speaking when speaking Polish as well. It kind of depends. I know. Well, yeah. So there's the main two: Spanish and English, and that's interesting because you could say, well, maybe it's the cultural expectation. This is the high versus low context society. It's the structure itself, or it's the expectation of other people in that culture, and that means that their anthropology, their evolution, meaning you can behave in different ways. And I think it's backed up because it highlights different parts of the brain and gets us thinking in different ways. For example, in English, is countable or uncountable? Well, there are no countables in Spanish. Oh, just más and el más, more and the most. Or some, so superlative, but some and a few and some. Some water and a few people. There's none of that, just unas in Spanish. So this is interesting because understand at the fundamental level that when you're dealing with people, naturally, they're going to think and have different standards and values. Fair enough. And even understand at a deeper visceral level, the language will affect their behavior as well. Because when you're communicating with people, it's not just going to be the anthropology, the sociology, the people, the whole culture, the history. It's going to be the deep visceral thing as well, the soul, the character of the nation, in the sense of what they've been through. It's that what's it called now? Fourth turning idea with regards to it. Every 20 to 80 years, things are different. The winters, the springs, the summers, and autumns of civilization. Those stages are going to affect people as well. The high and low context society, meaning fundamentally, is it a collectivist society or individualistic? Because even those at a deeper level, and even that stuff will affect the language, and in turn, the language will affect how they think, how they process, how they behave. For example, I remember hearing about some language, some culture in I don't know, in Oceania, so in the Pacific Ocean, that their understanding of time is different. They are not looking forward, not looking back, but time is present, something like that. I can't remember. And some places in Africa, there is no concept of maintenance. There's no concept of the future. It's just the present. And some other things like that. I can't remember right now. But these things, the wording, the structure, the language, will affect people viscerally in their heart, how they act, how they behave, how they feel. And you combine that with anthropology and you as you are, in terms of how you are perceived, your physical appearance, height, for example, or ethnicity. You could say the same thing in English and Spanish to English and Spanish people and get complete different results depending on you as well, viscerally, who you are. Because I've noticed that these jokes in Spanish and even the poetry, as in actual poetic phrases, don't quite translate well into English. And if I say it in English to English people, it doesn't translate well, doesn't come across as well because of the anthropology, in a sense of the flamboyant and playful, fiery nature versus the cold, calculating, individualistic nature over here. The anthropologies play a part in the communication. Understand that viscerally at a deeper level. Very important for communication. These mythical, deep, strong emotional Spanish, and there's a word for this. What was it called? Duende. That's it. Duende. Duende. As in, it translates as elf in the fantasy setting, fiction and literature, but it also can mean as in a poetic strength of character. It's almost untranslatable. Even that, there's going to be words and structures that are intranslatable between the languages that affect how people think and function. In Spanish, the se doesn't quite translate one-to-one into English. It's the impersonally done, it's the passive voice fundamentally, indicating this thing just happened, and the actor is not defined. But even in the passive voice in English, we can still define the doer. The book was read. The book was read by me. El libro se leyó. Ah, interesting. El libro fue leído por mí, by me. Ah, interesting. Very subtle things that you could be essentially lost in translation. So then you can go deeper, say, the meta lesson and meta strategy will be to understand communication styles. So I did a video months ago about using old English words, get versus obtain. Because even that in English, that different register could be perceived differently and risks alienating people. We don't want to alienate people, we want friends and allies in life. And I did a video about this 2 or so years ago. Get versus obtain. More or less the same thing. One's Germanic root, get, obtain is Latin. And you could say sleep and dormant, inactive machine, dormant and sleeping. But even go deeper, and this is where the art comes into it, to say you understand the languages, you're studying it, and you can appreciate the nuances between them. So, for example, in Spanish, we could say that, like the word dormir, dormir, to sleep, is an elegant version, and very similar to dormant, inactive. Very similar pronunciations, very similar wording and spelling, but generally different meaning. Dormant, like I said earlier, sleep. Then you can see the overlaps, and then you realise actually in some ways languages are quite easy. When you understand these overlaps, these loan words, it's somewhat easy. And that's a quick and easy way, by the way, to expand your vocabulary, to recognise what the loan words are, because you know it in English fluently, but if you realise that in Spanish it's more or less the same, with the correct phonological adaptation, meaning this it's been you could say Spanishized, turned into the Spanish, given the Spanish structure and pronunciation and grammar, then you realise that it's more or less the same thing. And it's a quick, easy way to expand your language, as your vocabulary. And as you understand grammar, you can just learn a new word, in English, just find the translation, because it's nearly one-to-one in Spanish, and because you know the grammar, you could instantly take your Spanish level a little higher, because you could insert it into different contexts and different tenses. Very powerful. Very quick and easy way to expand your vocabulary, just learn the loan words. And also you could say the false friends as well, but they're a little different. At least be aware of them, and different story. But understand, languages affect how we communicate, how we act, how we behave, how we think, how we feel. And I think it's just a powerful tool to know languages. And in the past I've talked about it with no regrets with learning another language. And I've done other videos as well in the past about languages. And it's just a powerful, powerful, powerful tool to have in life. No regrets. And understand, critically, as an observation, languages affect how we function, how we communicate, how we act, how we behave, what we do, what we don't do, why we do it. Because it affects us here and here, heart, mind and soul. But otherwise, Adrian's daily vlog, sharing smart stuff men should know. Subscribe for more, and you will see me tomorrow.